The stars looked different from inside a military spaceship. Olivia Marsh stood at the viewing window of the Earth Defense Force scout ship Horizon, watching the distant lights blur as they moved through space. 6 years with the EDF had not made the sight any less amazing to her. Lieutenant Marsh, report to command deck. The voice over the speaker broke her moment of peace. Olivia straightened her blue uniform and walked quickly through the metal hallways. Other crew members nodded as she passed. At 32, she wasn't the youngest officer, but her fast rise through the ranks had earned her respect. Commander Catherine Wells looked up from the main control panel as Olivia entered. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and deep lines framed her eyes from years of difficult decisions. "We've picked up a distress signal," Catherine said. "Unknown origin, possibly alien." Olivia's heart beat faster. In all her years of space travel, actual contact with alien life had been rare. Most species kept to themselves after the Galactic Accord of 2189. "Coordinates are set," Catherine continued. "I want you to lead the investigation team. Observe only. Do not engage. This could be a trap." "Yes, Commander." Olivia nodded, already planning which team members to bring. 3 hours later, Olivia sat in the small exploration vessel with Specialist Ben Carter and Medical Officer Dana Liu. The ship detached from the horizon with a gentle shudder. "Signal is getting stronger," Ben said, his fingers dancing over the controls. At 26, he was the best pilot in their division. "Looks like it's coming from the asteroid field ahead." Olivia leaned forward. "Take us in slowly. First sign of trouble, we retreat." The small ship moved between floating rocks of various sizes. Some were as small as a fist, others as large as buildings. Through the gaps, Olivia spotted something shining that didn't look like a natural formation. "There," she pointed. "What is that?" Ben steered toward the light. As they got closer, the shape became clear. It was the broken remains of a ship, unlike any Olivia had seen before. The material looked almost like glass, with strange patterns that seemed to shift and move. "It's beautiful," Dana whispered. Olivia checked her scanner. "I'm reading 2 life forms, both still alive." Ben brought their ship alongside the damaged vessel. Parts of it had broken away, creating an opening large enough for them to enter. "Suits on," Olivia ordered. "Remember, we observe only." The 3 humans put on their spacesuits and checked each other's seals. The airlock cycled, and then they were floating in space, using their suit jets to guide them to the broken ship. Inside, the walls glowed with a soft blue light. The patterns Olivia had seen from outside were everywhere, like frozen waves or the inside of a seashell. "This technology is beyond anything we have," Ben said, his voice filled with wonder. A sound like wind chimes made them turn. At the far end of what seemed to be a control room, 2 figures huddled together. Olivia's breath caught in her throat. They were made of the same material as the ship. Their bodies were crystal-like, with light moving inside them in complex patterns. One was larger, with sharp edges and deep blue coloring. The other was smaller, with softer curves and a lighter blue glow. The smaller one seemed to hide behind the larger one. "A child," Dana said quietly. "The smaller one is a child." Olivia moved forward slowly, hands raised to show she carried no weapons. The universal translator on her wrist would try to make sense of any language they used. The larger, crystal being saw them and moved protectively in front of the smaller one. Then it made a series of musical sounds that the translator struggled to process. "Please," the mechanical voice finally said. "Help." Before Olivia could respond, a deep rumble shook the broken ship. Ben checked his scanner. 3 large vessels just entered the area, he said, face pale. "They're not ours." Through the broken wall of the ship, Olivia saw them, dark, spiky shapes against the stars. She had seen pictures in the EDF database, but never in person. Draconian warships. The reptilian species was known for their aggressive expansion and lack of mercy. The crystal being made more musical sounds urgent now. "They hunt us," the translator said. "Last of the Kelvari. They destroy all." Olivia knew she should follow orders. Observe only, do not engage. But as she looked at the smaller crystal being trembling against the larger one, she couldn't make herself leave. The translator crackled again as the larger being, the mother, Olivia realized, spoke. Take me, she's just a child. The draconian ships were getting closer. Their weapons could tear apart the broken ship and the human exploration vessel in seconds. Olivia made her decision. We'll take you both. Hurry. They moved quickly through the floating debris. The crystal beings moved, differently in zero gravity, flowing rather than pushing off surfaces. The smaller one, the child, seemed to struggle, her light dimming. Once back in their ship, Ben closed the airlock and rushed to the controls. They've spotted us, he said, fingers flying over the panels. Sending emergency signal to the horizon. The ship shook as something hit it. Dana had strapped the crystal beings to seats designed for humans, which didn't quite fit their unusual forms. What are your names? Olivia asked as Ben piloted them away from the asteroid field. The mother made those musical sounds again. I am Nixara, the translator said. My daughter is Lyrith. We thank you, humans. Another hit rocked the ship. Olivia grabbed a handrail to stay upright. The horizon is responding, Ben called out. They're coming to us. The draconian ships fired again. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. Shields at 30%, Ben reported. We can't take much more. Through the viewing window, Olivia saw the horizon appear, much larger than their small vessel. Its weapons fired at the draconian ships, giving them cover. Docking bay open, came Commander Catherine's voice over the radio. Get in here now, Lieutenant. Ben guided their damaged ship toward the horizon as the draconians returned fire. With a final burst of speed, they slipped into the docking bay just as their shields failed. As the bay doors closed behind them, Olivia looked at the crystal beings. The mother, Nixara, held her child close. The daughter's light had grown even dimmer. They need medical attention, Olivia told Dana, who nodded and began to prepare her equipment. Commander Catherine's voice came over the ship's system again, cold with anger. Lieutenant Marsh, report to command immediately. Olivia knew she had disobeyed orders. She had involved Earth in whatever conflict these crystal beings were fleeing. But looking at the child, whose light flickered like a candle in the wind, she couldn't regret her choice. I'll be back, she promised the aliens, then headed to face her commander. The maintenance tunnel was narrow and hot. Olivia crawled as fast as she could, the sounds of draconians cutting through the door fading behind her. Ahead, she could see Dana helping Nixara carry Lyrith. How much further to the emergency shuttles? Olivia called. 2 more junctions, Dana replied, her voice echoing in the metal passage. Then down 1 level. The ship rocked again. The draconian vessels were still attacking from outside. Olivia's communicator beeped. Lieutenant Marsh, report. Commander Catherine's voice crackled. We're in the maintenance tunnels, Olivia answered quietly. Heading for the emergency shuttles. Draconian boarding parties are close behind. The engines have been damaged, Catherine said. We can't outrun them anymore. I've sent a distress signal to Earth. The defense station Aegis is sending ships to help, but it will take time. Understood, Commander. If you can get our guest to a shuttle, do it. The rest of us will hold off the Draconians as long as possible. Olivia's stomach tightened. Commander, that's an order, Lieutenant. Wells out. They reached a junction where the tunnel split in 3 directions. Dana pointed to the right passage. This way. A loud bang echoed through the tunnels. The Draconians had broken through the door. Move faster, Olivia urged, taking Lyrith from Nixara. The crystal child felt lighter than before. Her blue glow now just a faint pulse. They reached a vertical shaft with a ladder. Dana went first, then helped lower Lyrith down. Nixara followed, her crystalline form making strange scraping sounds against the metal. Olivia came last, keeping her pistol ready. At the bottom of the shaft, they found themselves in a wider corridor. The red emergency lights cast strange shadows on the walls. The shuttle bay is just ahead, Dana said, pointing. The doors to the shuttle bay were locked down, Dana went to the control panel and entered her medical override code. The doors slid, open halfway, then stuck. "Something's damaged the mechanism," she said, pushing at the doors. "We'll have to squeeze through." The gap was narrow, but they managed to get through one at a time. Inside, 3 small emergency shuttles waited in their docking clamps. Most of the bay was dark, with only a few emergency lights still working. Dana rushed to the nearest shuttle and started the power-up sequence. The control panels lit up with a soft glow. "It will take a few minutes to get it ready," she said. Olivia set Lyreth down gently inside the shuttle. The child's light flickered, weakly. Nixara made a mournful sound as she knelt beside her daughter. "She needs energy soon," the translator said, "or she will fade completely." Olivia looked around the shuttle bay, thinking. "The shuttle has power cells. Could we modify one to provide the kind of energy she needs?" Dana looked uncertain. "Maybe, but I wouldn't know how to change the output to match what they use." Nixara's inner light pulsed. "I can guide you. The principles are not so different." A loud bang came from the partially open doors. A scaled hand appeared in the gap, trying to force it wider. "Work fast," Olivia said, raising her pistol. "I'll hold them off." She took position behind a stack of cargo containers aiming at the door. The gap widened as the Draconians pushed harder. A reptilian face appeared, yellow eyes scanning the bay. Olivia fired. The energy bolt hit the door frame next to the Draconian's head. The alien pulled, back but only for a moment. Then an energy spear thrust through the gap, firing wildly into the bay. "Hurry!" Olivia called over her shoulder. Inside the shuttle, Dana and Nixara were working on one of the power cells. Dana had opened the casing, exposing the glowing core. Nixara made adjustments with her crystalline hands, which seemed to change shape to fit the task. The doors groaned as the Draconians forced them open further. Now 2 could squeeze through at once. They wore heavy armor and carried both spears and short curved blades. "Find the Kelvari," one ordered. "Kill the humans if they resist." Olivia fired again, hitting one in the shoulder. The Draconians stumbled but didn't fall. Their armor was too strong for her pistol to do serious damage. She ducked as return fire scorched the container above her head. The smell of burnt metal filled the air. She needed a better weapon or a better plan. Looking around, she spotted a fuel line running along the wall near the doors. It fed the shuttles during refueling. If she hit it right, the leaking fuel might slow the Draconians down. Olivia aimed carefully and fired. The line burst, spraying clear liquid across the floor. The Draconians slipped as they stepped in it, buying her a few precious seconds. "Almost ready," Dana called from the shuttle. The Draconians regained their footing and spread out, using the containers for cover. There were 5 of them now, too many for Olivia to hold off much longer. Her communicator beeped again. "Lieutenant," Catherine's voice said, sounding strained. "Status report." "We're in the shuttle bay," Olivia replied, firing at a Draconian who had moved too close. "Preparing a shuttle now. 5 Draconians in pursuit. The main Draconian force has reached the bridge. We can't hold them much longer." There was a pause, filled with the sounds of energy weapons. "Get our guests to Aegis Station. Tell them everything. The Draconians are after something specific." "Commander, we can wait for you." "No time, Lieutenant." "That's an order." "Wells out." The finality in Catherine's voice made Olivia's chest tighten. She fired again, keeping the Draconians at bay, but her pistol's charge was running low. "It's working," Dana called. Olivia glanced back. Inside the shuttle, Lyrith was sitting up, her blue glow stronger. Nixara had connected the modified power cell to her daughter somehow. Energy flowed visibly from the cell to the child's crystalline form. "We need to go now," Olivia said, backing toward the shuttle. The Draconians were getting closer, moving from container to container. One made a dash toward her. Olivia fired, but her pistol only produced a weak spark. Out of power. The Draconian raised its spear. Olivia prepared to dodge. A bright beam of blue energy shot past her, hitting the Draconian squarely in the chest. The alien fell backward, its armor smoking. Olivia turned to see Nixara standing at the shuttle door, her arm extended. The end of it had reshaped into something like a weapon. "Hurry," the translator said. "I cannot maintain this form for long." Olivia ran to the shuttle. Dana was in the pilot's seat finishing the launch sequence. The engines hummed to life. "Strap in," Dana said. "This will be rough." As Olivia secured herself in a seat, Nyxara fired again at the advancing Draconians. Her blue energy beams forced them to take cover. "I did not tell you everything," Nyxara said as she backed into the shuttle. "The Draconians hunt us for a reason." "What reason?" Olivia asked. Before Nyxara could answer, a spear flew through the air, striking her in the shoulder. Her crystalline form cracked, leaking blue light. "Mother!" Lyrith cried, the translator, picking up the word from her musical voice. Olivia helped Nyxara inside and hit the button to close the shuttle door. "Go!" she shouted to Dana. The shuttle's clamps released. Dana fired the thrusters and the small vessel shot out of the bay into open space. Through the viewport, Olivia could see the horizon, damaged and surrounded by the 3 Draconian warships. "Set. Course for Aegis Station," Olivia ordered, helping Nyxara to a seat. The crystal being's wound continued to leak light. "Maximum speed." Dana nodded and adjusted their course. The shuttle accelerated away from the battle. "Will your people help us?" Nyxara asked, her voice weak through the translator. "Yes," Olivia said firmly, though she wasn't entirely sure. Earth had avoided conflicts with other species whenever possible. Taking in refugees that another species wanted dead would not be a popular decision. Lyrith moved to her mother's side, placing her small hands on the wound. The leaking light slowed. "She is trying to heal me," Nyxara explained. "She has that knowledge in her patterns." "What knowledge do you carry that the Draconians want so badly?" Olivia asked. Nyxara's inner light pulsed slowly. "Our people discovered something on their sacred world. Not something we took, but something we learned. Knowledge that changes everything they believe." "What knowledge?" "The Draconians worship those who came before. Ancient beings they call the creators. They believe these beings made the Draconians to rule the stars." Nyxara paused, her light dimming further. "But we found evidence on their sacred world. The Draconians were not created to rule. They were created to serve." Olivia frowned. "To serve who?" "Beings like us. The Kelvari are descendants of those the Draconians worship as gods." Commander Catherine Wells did not raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her quiet disappointment cut deeper than any shouting could have. "You had direct orders, Lieutenant. Observe only. Do not engage." Olivia stood straight, hands behind her back. "Yes, Commander, I made a judgment call." "A judgment call that might start a war." Catherine pointed to the large screen showing the 3 Draconian ships following the horizon. "They want their prey back." "Their prey is a mother and child," Olivia said. "The last of their kind, according to the translator." Catherine sighed and rubbed her forehead. "The Draconians have sent a message. They say the crystal beings stole something sacred from them. They demand we hand them over. They'll kill them. And if we don't comply, they might kill us all." Catherine turned away from the screen. "How is the child?" "Dr. Liu is with them now. The child's energy seems to be fading." The ship shook as something hit their shields. Catherine grabbed her chair to steady herself. "They're firing warning shots," said the weapons officer, Samantha Reed. Her red hair was tied back in a practical ponytail. "Shields holding at 87%. "We can outrun them," offered the chief pilot, Liam Grant. His dark skin contrasted with the white of his uniform. "The horizon is faster than any Draconian warship." Catherine nodded. "Set course for Earth's outer defense station, maximum speed." She turned back to Olivia. "In the meantime, learn what you can from our guests. I need to know what we've gotten ourselves into." Olivia hurried to the medical bay. The white room was filled with standard human medical equipment, none of which seemed useful for beings made of crystal. Dana Liu looked up from where she was scanning the smaller crystal being with a handheld device. "Their biology, if you can call it that, is fascinating," Dana said. "They're not exactly crystal, more like structured energy held in a mineral matrix." Nyxara stood nearby, her sharp edges catching the light. The translator on Olivia's wrist activated as the alien mother made musical sounds. "How is my daughter?" the mechanical voice asked. Dana looked at her scanner. "Her energy patterns are weakening. I don't know how to help her." Nixara moved to her child's side. Lirith lay on an examination table, her light pulsing weakly. The mother placed what seemed to be a hand on her daughter. "She needs resonance renewal," the translator said. "Our ship provided this. Without it, she will fade." Olivia stepped forward. "What can we do?" "I can share my energy with her, but not for long. I am also weakened." Another shake ran through the ship, stronger this time. The lights flickered. "Direct hit," came Samantha's voice over the speaker. "Shields at 62%. Olivia turned to Dana. "We need to find a way to help them. The commander wants information." Dana nodded and went to get more equipment. Olivia moved closer to the crystal beings. "Nixara, can you tell me why the Draconians are hunting you?" The alien mother made a sound like breaking glass. The translator struggled for a moment. "My people, the Kelvari, were explorers. We searched for knowledge across the stars. 3 cycles ago we found a planet. Beautiful. Rich with crystal formations like ourselves. We did not know it was sacred to the Draconians. What happened? They attacked without warning, destroyed our research vessels, hunted down our colonies. They called us thieves, but we took nothing." Olivia frowned. "That seems extreme for just visiting a planet." Nixara's inner light pulsed. "There is more. The Kelvari are living libraries. We store knowledge in our physical structure. The patterns you see are information, history, science, art. All Kelvari carry some knowledge, but the children—" She looked at Lirith. "The children are special. Their patterns are still forming. They can store much more." The ship rocked. Again. Olivia grabbed the edge of a table to keep her balance. "Shields at 40%, Samantha announced. "We've increased speed, but they're still following." Dana returned with a different scanner. "If they store information physically, maybe we can provide energy in a form they can use." She began adjusting equipment. Olivia's communicator beeped. "Lieutenant, report to the bridge," Catherine ordered. "I'll be right back," Olivia told Dana, then hurried through the hallways. The bridge was tense. The main screen showed the 3 Draconian ships still in pursuit. Catherine stood in the center, face grim. "They're demanding to speak with whoever is in charge of the crystal beings," she said. "That's you, apparently." Olivia swallowed hard. "Me?" "You brought them aboard. You talked to the Draconians." The screen changed to show a reptilian face. Scales in various shades of green and brown covered sharp features. Yellow eyes with vertical pupils stared out at them. The Draconian wore some kind of metal armor with symbols Olivia didn't recognize. "I am Commander Vexnar of the Draconian Imperium," the alien said in a deep, rumbling voice. "You have taken our rightful prey. Return the crystal thieves or be destroyed." Olivia stepped forward. "I am Lieutenant Olivia Marsh of the Earth Defense Force. The beings in our protection are refugees, not thieves. They are a mother and child, possibly the last of their kind." Vexnar's scales darkened. "They are the Kelvari, keepers of forbidden knowledge. The child especially must be destroyed. It contains dangerous information that could upset the balance of power." "What information?" Olivia asked. "That is not your concern, human. Return them or we will take them by force." The screen went dark. Catherine turned to Olivia. "What did he mean by dangerous information?" "Nixara told me her people store knowledge, in their physical form, especially the children." Before Catherine could respond, the ship jerked violently. Alarms blared. "They've launched boarding pods," Samantha shouted. 3 have attached to the lower hull. They're burning through. Catherine turned to her security chief. "Defend the ship. Lieutenant Marsh, get to the medical bay. Protect our guests." Olivia ran through the corridors as red. Emergency lights flashed. Crew members rushed to battle stations carrying weapons. She reached the medical bay just as Dana was helping the crystal beings into a side room. "Draconian boarding parties," Olivia explained quickly. "We need to move them somewhere safer." A loud explosion echoed from down the hallway. The sounds of energy weapons firing followed. The maintenance tunnels, Dana suggested. We can reach the emergency shuttles from there. They helped Nixara carry Lirith, whose light had grown even dimmer. The child made a soft chiming sound that the translator didn't pick up. She asks if we are going to die. Nixara said. Many Kelvari have died. She has seen much death. Not today, Olivia promised, though she wasn't sure she could keep that promise. They reached a narrow access door. Dana punched in a code, and it slid open to reveal a tight passage with pipes and cables running along the walls. They crawled. Inside, Dana leading the way. Behind them, the sounds of fighting grew louder. Then a different sound, clawed feet on metal floors. They're coming, Olivia whispered. She pulled her energy pistol from its holster. Keep going, I'll hold them. Off. Nixara made a musical protest, but Dana urged her forward. Olivia took position at the tunnel entrance, weapon ready. 3 draconian soldiers appeared in the medical bay. Their scaled bodies were covered in black armor, and they carried long energy spears. Yellow eyes scanned the room. The Kelvari were, here, one hissed. Find them. Olivia aimed her pistol at the ceiling and fired. The energy bolt hit a water pipe, sending a spray of water down on the draconians. They roared in surprise. Olivia used the distraction to fire at the nearest one, hitting its armor. The draconian spotted her and charged. Olivia ducked back into the tunnel and sealed the door. It wouldn't hold them for long, but it might buy enough time. She crawled, quickly after the others, hearing the draconians begin to cut through the door behind her. The small shuttle raced through space. Behind them, the horizon had disappeared from view, though Olivia could still see flashes of weapons fire in the distance. She tried not to think about Commander Catherine and the rest of the crew. So the Draconians are hunting you because you discovered their gods were actually your ancestors? Olivia asked Nixara. The crystal being's light pulsed weakly. Not just that. The knowledge in our patterns contains more. Technology. Methods of control. The ancient Kelvari did not treat the early Draconians well. They were slaves, Dana said quietly from the pilot's seat. Yes, Nixara admitted. My ancestors used the Draconians as workers, soldiers, servants. When the ancient Kelvari left this region of space thousands of years ago, the Draconians built a religion around them. They became gods who would one day return. And now they fear you've come back to enslave them again, Olivia said, understanding dawning. That's why they attacked your people. Yes, they fear most what Lirith carries. Nixara looked at her daughter, who sat quietly beside her. As a child, her patterns are still forming. She can hold more knowledge than any adult Kelvari, the complete history, the complete technology, including how to control the Draconians, including that. Nixara's light dimmed further. I cannot maintain my form much longer. The weapon shape drained too much energy, and the wound is severe. Olivia leaned forward. There must be something we can do. When we reach your station, help Lirith. Protect her. She is the last hope of the Kelvari. Dana called from the front. We're approaching Earth's defense perimeter. Aegis Station is responding to our identification signal. The huge space station came into view. Aegis was Earth's first line of defense, a massive structure shaped like a wheel with spokes extending from a central hub. Ships of various sizes docked at its outer ring, and weapon emplacements dotted its surface. This is Lieutenant Olivia Marsh of the EDF scout ship Horizon, Olivia said into the communication system. Requesting emergency docking and medical assistance. We have 2 alien refugees on board and are being pursued by Draconian warships. There was a pause before a response came. Lieutenant Marsh, this is Aegis Control. Your situation has been reported by Commander Wells. Proceed to Emergency Dock 7. A security team will meet you there. Dana guided the shuttle toward the indicated docking port. As they approached, Olivia saw several Earth Defense Force ships launching from the station, heading in the direction they had come from. Going to help the Horizon, she said quietly. Will they be in time? Dana asked. Olivia didn't answer. They both knew the Horizon had likely been overwhelmed already. The shuttle docked with a gentle bump. Olivia helped Nixara stand. but the crystal being was extremely weak now, her light barely visible. "Lyrith," Nixara said, her voice faint through the translator. "Come." The child approached her mother. Nixara placed her hands on Lyrith's head. A flow of blue light passed between them from mother to daughter. Lyrith's patterns changed, becoming more complex. "What are you doing?" Olivia asked. "Giving her my knowledge," Nixara replied. "All that I carry. She must have it to survive." When the transfer finished, Nixara could barely stand. Olivia had to support her as the shuttle door opened. Outside, 6 security officers in EDF uniforms waited with weapons ready. Behind them stood a tall woman with short gray hair and a severe expression. Admiral Eleanor Winters, commander of Aegis Station. "Lieutenant Marsh," the admiral said, her eyes moving from Olivia to the crystal beings. "I see your report was accurate. Bring them to Medical Bay 3. It's been cleared for their use." As they moved through the station's corridors, Olivia was aware of many eyes watching them. News of alien refugees had spread quickly. Some faces showed curiosity, others fear. The medical bay was a large room filled with advanced equipment. Most of it was designed for humans, but one section had been hastily modified. "Our science team has been studying the data Commander Wells sent," Admiral Winters explained. "They've prepared an energy chamber that might help your crystalline friends." A transparent tube stood in the center of the modified area. Inside, lights of various colors pulsed in patterns. "It's experimental," the admiral continued, "based on what little we know of their biology." Nixara looked at the tube and made a soft, chiming sound. "It will help," the translator said, "but too late for me." Olivia helped her into the tube. As soon as Nixara was inside, the lights adjusted, matching the frequency of her inner glow. For a moment, her light strengthened, but then faded again. "Mother?" Lyrith's musical voice was full of concern. "I am fading, little one," Nixara replied. "But you will live. You carry all of us now." Olivia turned to Admiral Winters. "The Draconians are hunting them because of what they know. Knowledge about the Draconians' origins." The Admiral nodded. "Commander Wells explained some of it before we lost contact with the Horizon. The Draconian Imperium has already sent a formal message to Earth. They demand we turn over the crystal beings. They claim they stole sacred artifacts." "That's not true," Olivia said. "They're refugees, the last of their kind." "Perhaps," the Admiral said. "But is protecting them worth starting a war? The Draconian Imperium controls 12 star systems. Their military might is significant." Olivia looked at Lyrith, who stood watching her mother in the energy tube. "They're going to kill a child, Admiral. A child who has done nothing wrong." "War would kill many children, Lieutenant." The Admiral's voice was cold. "The Earth Council will decide their fate. Until then, they remain here under guard." After the Admiral left, Olivia stayed in the medical bay with Dana. They watched as Nixara's light grew steadily dimmer despite the energy chamber's efforts. "I've never seen anything like their biology," Dana said quietly. "The patterns in their structure are actually information storage. It's amazing. Amazing enough that the Draconians want to destroy it completely," Olivia replied. A scientist entered the medical bay, a woman with short black hair and intelligent eyes. "Dr. Victoria Harmon," she introduced herself. "I've been assigned to study our guests." She approached the energy chamber and scanned Nixara with a handheld device. "Fascinating. The energy patterns are similar to our most advanced quantum computers, but organic somehow." "Can you help her?" Olivia asked. Victoria shook her head. "The damage is too severe, but I might be able to help the child." Lyrith had not left her mother's side. She placed her small hands against the tube, making sad musical sounds. "She's saying goodbye," Dana translated softly. Inside the tube, Nixara's light flickered one last time, then went out completely. Her crystalline form turned gray and still. Lyrith made a high, keening sound that needed no translation. Loss was the same in any language. Olivia knelt beside the child. "I'm so sorry, Lyrith." the small crystal being turned to her. Though Lyrith had no eyes in the human sense, Olivia felt she was being studied. Then, to her surprise, Lyrith reached out and touched Olivia's face with a cool, smooth hand. Images flashed through Olivia's mind, vast crystal cities, ships that sailed between stars on beams of light, knowledge that seemed to stretch back millions of years. She gasped and pulled back. "What was that?" "She showed you," Victoria said, watching with fascination. "The Kelvari civilization." Lyrith made a series of musical notes. "I cannot speak your language well," the translator said, "but I can share. This is how my people communicate important things." The scientist stepped closer. "May I?" she asked, extending her hand to Lyrith. The child hesitated, then touched Victoria's hand briefly. The scientist's eyes widened. "Incredible," she whispered. "Their mathematics, their physics, they're centuries beyond us." Olivia's communicator beeped. "Lieutenant Marsh, report to the command center," Admiral Winters ordered. "The Draconian delegation has arrived." Heart sinking, Olivia stood. "Stay with her," she told Dana and Victoria. "I'll be back." The command center of Aegis Station was a large circular room with screens showing space in all directions. Admiral Winters stood at the central console, surrounded by officers. On the main screen, 3 Draconian warships hung in space near the station. "The horizon?" Olivia asked quietly as she approached. "Destroyed," the Admiral replied. "Some escape pods were launched. We're still searching for survivors." Olivia closed her eyes briefly, thinking of Commander Catherine and the crew. "The Draconians have sent a diplomatic shuttle," the Admiral continued. "Their High Executor wishes to speak with us directly about the return of the crystal beings." "Admiral, we can't. The decision isn't yours, Lieutenant." The Admiral's voice was sharp. "The Earth Council is still debating the matter. Until they decide, we will hear what the Draconians have to say." A smaller ship detached from one of the Draconian warships and approached the station. It docked at a secure bay far from where Lyrith was being kept. 20 minutes later, the Draconian delegation entered the command center. 3 tall reptilian beings in ornate armor led the group. Their scales were darker than the soldiers Olivia had seen, almost black with red patterns. Yellow eyes scanned the room, settling on Olivia. "The one who took our prey," the tallest Draconian said. His translator produced a deep, rumbling voice. "I am High Executor Karzul. You have something that belongs to us. The refugees are under Earth's protection while their status is determined," Admiral Winters said formally. The command center fell silent after Karzul's threat. Admiral Winters maintained her composure, but Olivia could see the tension in her shoulders. "The Earth Council will need time to consider your demand," the Admiral said carefully. "Until then, both the child and your delegation will remain on the station." "You delay only prolongs the inevitable," Karzul replied. "We have lost patience with delay." An alarm suddenly blared throughout the station. A security officer at a nearby console turned to the Admiral. "Multiple breaches detected in lower sections," he reported. "Draconian boarding parties." Karzul's mouth formed what might have been a smile, showing sharp teeth. "As I said, our patience is at an end." Admiral Winters' face hardened. "You used diplomatic talks as a distraction for an attack. This violates all interspecies agreements." "The agreements do not apply to existential threats," Karzul said. "The Kelvari child is such a threat." The Admiral turned to her security chief. "Lock down all sections, protect Medical Bay 3 at all costs." To Olivia, she said, "Lieutenant, get to the Medical Bay now." Olivia didn't wait for further orders. She ran from the command center, hearing the Admiral order Karzul and his delegation confined. The station's corridors were filled with personnel, rushing to battle stations. Red emergency lights flashed overhead. Her communicator beeped. "Olivia, they're coming." Dana's voice was tense. "Security says Draconians are heading this way." "I'm almost there," Olivia replied, running faster. "How's Lyrith?" "Scared. Dr. Harmon discovered something important. You need to hurry." The corridor ahead was blocked by a security checkpoint. Two officers checked everyone trying to pass. Lieutenant Marsh EDF, Olivia said, showing her identification. I need to get to Medical Bay 3 immediately. Sorry, Lieutenant, one officer replied. We have orders to lock down all movement between sections. Admiral Winters sent me specifically to protect the alien child, Olivia insisted. The officers looked at each other uncertain. Before they could decide, the far end of the corridor exploded in fire and smoke. Draconian soldiers poured through the breach, firing energy weapons. Go! The security officer shouted, pushing Olivia through the checkpoint. We'll hold them. Olivia ran as energy bolts flew past her. Behind her, the security officers returned fire, but they were quickly overwhelmed. The Draconians were coming, and they knew exactly where they were going. She reached the medical bay to find Dana and Victoria barricading the door with equipment. 4 security officers stood guard, weapons ready. Where's Lyrith? Olivia asked, out of breath. Dana pointed to a corner where the crystal child huddled, her light pulsing rapidly with fear. Next to her stood the tube containing Nixara's gray, lifeless form. Dr. Harmon made a discovery, Dana said quickly. Tell her. Victoria looked up from the computer she was working on. The patterns in the child's structure, she said. They're not just knowledge storage, they're an entire civilization. Culture, history, science, art. Everything that made the Kelvari who they were. She's a living library, Olivia said, remembering Nixara's words. More than that, Victoria continued. She's the last repository of an entire species' existence. Everything they were, everything they knew. When Nixara transferred her patterns to Lyrith, she completed the archive. The child now carries the entire Kelvari civilization within her. The implications hit Olivia hard. If the Draconians kill her, they wipe out an entire species' legacy, Dana finished. Not just a child, but the last trace of a civilization millions of years old. Loud banging came from the corridor outside. The Draconians had reached their section. How much time? Olivia asked the security team. Minutes, maybe less. One officer replied. The door is reinforced, but they have cutting tools. Olivia went to Lyrith and knelt beside her. We'll protect you, she promised. The crystal child made a soft musical sound. She reached out and touched Olivia's hand. Again, images flashed through Olivia's mind. This time, she saw ancient Kelvari using strange devices to control Draconians. She saw the fear and hatred in the reptilian eyes as they were forced to build monuments to their masters. She felt the shame of Kelvari who recognized the wrong being done. When the connection broke, Olivia gasped. You showed me the truth, she said. Your people did enslave them. Lyrith nodded, her inner light pulsing slowly. But that doesn't justify genocide, Olivia continued. What happened then doesn't make it right to kill you now. The door to the medical bay began to glow red as the Draconians used cutting tools from the other side. The security officers took positions ready to fire when the door fell. Olivia's communicator beeped. Lieutenant? Admiral Winters' voice was grim. The situation is critical. Draconian forces have taken control of multiple sections. They're heading for your position. We know, Admiral. They're already here. The Earth Council has made its decision. To avoid full-scale war, they've agreed to turn over the Kelvari child. Olivia felt cold. Admiral, the child contains the entire history and knowledge of her species. If she dies, an entire civilization is lost forever. I understand, Lieutenant. But the Council has decided the lives of millions of humans outweigh the life of one alien child. There has to be another way. The Admiral was silent for a moment. If you can find one in the next 5 minutes, I'm listening. Otherwise, prepare to surrender the child when the Draconians break through. The communication ended. Olivia looked at Lyrith, whose light pulsed with understanding beyond her years. They're going to give you to them, Olivia said softly. Lyrith nodded. She made a series of musical notes. I understand, the translator said. Many will die because of me. It is better if only I die. No, Olivia said firmly. That's not right. Victoria looked up suddenly from her computer. Wait, what if we could remove the dangerous knowledge? The specific information about controlling draconians? Is that possible? Dana asked. Theoretically. Victoria moved to Lyrith. The patterns in her structure are like data in a computer. With her help, we might be able to isolate and remove the specific patterns the draconians fear. The door was glowing brighter now. Parts of it had begun to melt. How long would it take? Olivia asked. Too long, Victoria admitted. Days, maybe weeks of study. The door buckled as something heavy hit it from the other side. They had minutes, not days. Lyrith touched Olivia again. This time the images were different. Olivia saw crystal beings sharing knowledge through direct contact. She saw how patterns could be transferred, modified or erased. You know how to do it, Olivia said when the vision ended. You can remove the knowledge yourself. Lyrith's light pulsed in what seemed like agreement, but then she showed Olivia one more image. Herself with large portions of her patterns gone, her light dimmed permanently. It would harm you, Olivia realized. Removing that knowledge would damage your structure. The crystal child nodded slowly. The door to the medical bay gave way with a crash. Security officers fired as draconian soldiers poured in. Energy bolts flew across the room, hitting equipment and walls. Olivia pulled Lyrith behind a heavy medical cabinet. Stay down. The draconians kept coming. There were too many of them. One by one, the security officers fell. Dana was hit in the shoulder and collapsed behind a table. Then the shooting stopped. High Executor Karzul stepped through the ruined doorway, his black scales gleaming in the emergency lights. Enough, he said. Give us the child, and the rest of you may live. Olivia stood, placing herself between Karzul and Lyrith. The child contains your people's history too, she said. Not just how to control you, but where you came from, your true origins. Karzul's eyes narrowed. Lies. The creators made us to rule, not to serve. She can show you the truth, just as she showed me. More lies. Karzul drew a ceremonial blade from his belt. The child dies now. Step aside, human. No. Olivia held her ground. Humans don't abandon children. Not ours, not yours, and certainly not hers. Karzul raised his blade. Then you die first. Wait! A new voice came from behind the draconians. Admiral Winters pushed through the soldiers, followed by several high-ranking Earth officers. Before anyone else dies, hear me out. Karzul paused, blade still raised. Speak quickly. We have a proposal, the Admiral said. A compromise. There is no compromise with extinction, Karzul replied. What if the child could remove the knowledge you fear? Admiral Winters asked. Just that specific information, while preserving everything else? Karzul lowered his blade slightly. Impossible. The patterns are integrated. Not impossible, Victoria said, stepping forward, despite the weapons pointed at her. Difficult, yes, but the Kelvari had the ability to modify their own information patterns. Olivia looked at Lyrith, who had moved to stand beside her. She's willing to try. To remove the knowledge of how to control your people. Karzul studied the crystal child. And why would she do this? Why sacrifice part of herself? To live, Olivia said simply, to preserve what remains of her people without threatening yours. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Karzul sheathed his blade. Show me, he said to Lyrith. Show me you can do this. The crystal child stepped forward. She raised a small hand toward the High Executor. Karzul hesitated, then knelt to bring his face to her level. Lyrith touched his scaled cheek. The draconian went rigid,